There's a second. Oh my God, that's so like.
Let me think. I'll get it to you later.
Have you ever been anywhere where you had to, like in a car on a highway where you had to pay a toll?
Yes. Yes.
You know what they used to do is that they used to have the toll booths, and you'd go like every 40 miles, you have to stop for like 40 cents in there and then drive off, and then they always have 4 lanes of traffic going down to 2 or something, and then it's just a nightmare. What they do now usually is they'll have open road tolling. This is probably what if you've gone anywhere recently. Even if you haven't gone through the open road part, you've probably seen other people do it, where you just slow down, you got this little device in your car, and it basically sends off, it's like a credit card where you don't even have to swipe it. Just drive through, it adds it to your bill.
I pass.
They send you a bill. Yeah, I passed in Illinois, I think. I can't remember. Yeah, but they all kind of work interchangeably. So, let's say that let's say you go through one of these things at noon, and then you go 60 miles later, there's another one, and let's say you go through that at 12:50. All right. Let's say it was a construction zone too. Let's say the speed limit was 60 for this construction zone. So you went through one at noon. You went through one at 12:50. Okay. Now let's say there's a cop behind you, and all of a sudden the cop pulls you over. And you look down because I always love that the cop always asks you, because I've never been pulled over for speeding. I just heard this from other people. Say the cop asks you, do you know how fast you were going? And you don't want to say yes, because that's almost arrogant. Like, yeah. So you say no, not really. And then, but really when you see the lights behind you, even if you've never been pulled over, what's probably the first thing you do?
Look at your speed.
Brake. Look at how fast was I going? Oh crap, So, well, I'm usually crying anyway. Trying to just like alone with my thoughts for that long. Eventually it's going to result in tears. So the police officer says, well, we know that you're speeding. You say, okay, and maybe if you really want to be hard-nosed about it, you can say, well, what did you clock me at? The officer says, I didn't. And let's say at the time that the officer pulled you over, you might have been going 52. But they can still prove you were speeding. Because why?
Because you made it 60 miles in 50 minutes.
Because you went 60 miles in 50 minutes. That's over 60 miles an hour. All right. Now, that's not really how things work. But hypothetically, that's how it could work. Yeah. The point is, police officers typically, at least as far as I know, they rely on a radar gun to catch your instantaneous velocity. And if it's above the speed limit, they can pull you over. If it's a lot above the speed limit, you're probably getting a ticket. So this officer, in this hypothetical situation, didn't use a radar gun. That officer used math. Yeah. Took your velocity between 2 points. Now, is that an instantaneous velocity? No. That is that's an average velocity. Okay.
Story did not go as I was thinking. I thought it was going to be one of those really long setups.
Neither did the sub story yesterday.
Yeah,
It's just like ended.
I think he figured out where he was going.
Did you hear the worst I was just saying? You didn't know? Okay.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Okay.
When I would come home from college or holidays or whatever, my mom never wanted to know what I was doing outside the classroom. When I'm gone and there's a sub here, I'm the same way.
But I'm pretty sure it's
The mean value theorem says if f is continuous on some interval, guess what I'm going to call that interval? A to B. And differentiable on the interval parentheses AB, then there is some C, some x value called C, also on the interval, such that kind of think back to the cop story here. The cop's logic was that because over the course of time between the toll booths, or whatever you want to call them, because that over the whole course of time was above 60, then at some point the radar gun reading would have also been above 60. Is that fair logic?
Yeah.
Okay. In calculus speak, we say the radar gun reading would have at some point had to have been the average velocity over that time. How do you write the average velocity over an interval of time?
V over T.
Okay, and well, that would be the average acceleration over time. How do you get velocity? What divided by what?
Time divided by distance. Or
Distance divided by time. Okay. The distance you traveled. How do you get the distance you traveled? Well,
Final minus.
what?
Just clock on it.
Final minus. Displacement.
Displacement. How do you get the displacement?
Find minus initial.
No,
If you're given, if f is your position function, you would just take, we've done this before, where the f value where you ended up minus the f value where you started. That would tell you the distance you traveled, right? F of b minus f of a is the distance traveled.
I said that.
I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
No, I was talking about that.
Oh, I didn't hear that either.
I was saying that it's the same thing as what he was saying.
And then we divide that by the time it took to do it. What's the time it took to do it?
T.
T, okay, give me context here.
F of V minus.
Well, there's no t's here.
V minus A.
B minus a, right? Those are your time values. You plug those time values in to get distances, but just by themselves they would be time values.
So we're making some number minus 0.
F prime of c represents an instantaneous velocity. That's what the radar gun would give. Displacement over time gives you velocity over an interval, which is what the toll booths would give you. I'm sure they have a way of recording the time, but to my knowledge, that is not currently a way of punitively, going after people that pay speed. They could probably put that in there. It surprised me. Probably be a lot of court cases involved.
You can make some money with striking. You can sell that.
Slow road, they do that.
They'll probably end up losing money. Alright, so I just want to go through a couple examples with you using this theorem. Kind of like we did with intermediate value, or Rolle's theorem, the last time we met. Alright.